happened to the Hyundai Santa Cruz? Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to Rob Motive Rides. First of all, you may have noticed that the channel name changed. It was Rob Motive MT for mini truck. I changed it to Rob Motive Rides because the channel is going in a different direction. You know, I got to thinking, I have two trucks. I have the Rob Motive channel, which is dedicated to the Toyota Tacoma, and I have Rob Motive JT, which stands for Jeep Truck, and that's dedicated to the Jeep Gladiator. Two of the best trucks, the number one trucks on the road as far as I'm concerned in the mid-size market. So I got to thinking, you know, I had the Santa Cruz, which by the way, I love that truck. That truck is probably number 3 for me, maybe number 2. Awesome truck, love driving it, had great power. I have nothing bad to say about it. And if you're in the market and you're looking for a mid-size truck, I think you should give it a try. It's awesome, very utilitarian, more of a weekend warrior type truck, I think. It's not real heavy duty. But then again, what mid-size trucks are heavy duty? If you want something like that, you probably ought to go to a full size. So I got to thinking, you know, I love cars too. I mean, I love everything automotive, not just trucks. And I kind of missed having a car. And honestly, on the trip that I took recently, and for those of you that don't know, I spent about 2.5 months or so in Ohio. Went up there to see family and stuff, and I drove a Mercedes-Benz when I was there. I was able to use one as a loaner, if you will, drove that around and fell in love with it. And it didn't take much because honestly, I've had a Mercedes before. I had a Mercedes C43. Loved that vehicle. The only reason that I got rid of it was because we moved from Ohio to South Texas. And I had 4 or 5 different vehicles, and I didn't want to bring all of those. It was just too much to haul. So I ended up hauling, I think it was, if I remember, a Honda Civic Sport hatch, manual transmission, which I really did like, a Tundra, which I really did like, and then lastly, a Toyota Tacoma, which is my number one. You know, it's my go-to vehicle. So those were the 3 that made the cut. I sold the Mercedes, and I believe I had a Corvette too, I'm not sure, but I sold that one as well. Just didn't want to pay to haul all that stuff, and honestly, I didn't have enough room for it down here in Texas anyway. I would have had cars sitting all over the place. I didn't want that. Not a real big deal for me. So, anyway, back to what happened to the Santa Cruz. Well, I traded it. You know, the Santa Cruz is a pretty hot commodity right now. They're still difficult to find. I get a lot of reports from people that they're trying to get them, they're having to order them, bring them in from different dealers, if they can do any of that at all. So I thought it's a good time to make a move because the Santa Cruz was worth exactly what I paid for it. In other words, I traded it in for what I bought it for. I didn't lose anything. And when you can do that, that's the way to go, right? So I traded it in on a Mercedes. It's a C6 or a C300, I should say. And I did that, as far as the trade goes, at CarMax. Now, there's a reason I did it that way. I had tried, and I talked about this on the channel a little bit already, but I tried to buy the new Mercedes C300 because it's a remodel. They've redone the entire thing, even the body a little bit. I think it's a little bit different dimensionally now, and I really like it. I like all the tech and stuff in it, and it's interesting because it reminded me of the Santa Cruz. The way the screens are set up, all of the upscale, most recent tech that's inside, much like the Santa Cruz. So I didn't feel like I'd really be missing a lot as far as that goes with the new Mercedes. However, there's a problem. You can't get them. Nobody has them, like everything else. And I think it's even worse with the Mercedes. I had talked to a dealer down here in South Texas trying to buy one. They said that they had one in production. So the short of that is it didn't seem like they really did. They couldn't give me any pricing. They couldn't give me any delivery schedule. They couldn't give me anything. Matter of fact, they even moved the model year out to 2023. Now, this was about 3 months ago. So I would surely think they're still building 2022s, but who knows? I don't know what their production schedule is. Bottom line, I could not get one. So I decided to do the next best thing, which actually works out a little bit better for what I do anyway, and that was to pick up a used one. Hence, CarMax. I could go to CarMax. I already knew what the Santa Cruz was worth. And by the way, Santa Cruz will now give you a value of your car over the internet. It's awesome. Of course, they're going to verify it when you take it in, but they'll give you a price over the internet, and it should be valid. Mine was, assuming that you report everything accurately. So make sure if you do that, you give them the right information. I mean, there's no reason to give them the wrong information and then you show up and they tell you it's worth $3,000 less than the original offer, right? So I did that. I priced it out online, $35,000. Awesome. That's what I paid for it. So I then needed to find a Mercedes. Now, I decided to go with a used, late model, low miles, and most importantly to me, Mercedes has a 4-year warranty. And we all know that Mercedes doesn't have a sterling reputation when it comes to reliability, right? So I wanted at least some of that remaining warranty. Now, I bought a 2020. That gives me till 2024. 2 more years of warranty on that car. That was very important to me. I wouldn't have gone with anything older than that because I wanted at least a couple of years warranty. And there's a few reasons for that we'll get to in just a second. So I found one. They actually, amazingly, had one sitting at the dealership down here in South Texas. It was the Pharr CarMax, if you're familiar with the area. Pharr is a city in South Texas. So worked it all out, went there, test drove the vehicle, of course. Loved it. I love the Mercedes anyway, and made the trade. Pretty simple, pretty seamless, very easy to do. And by the way, one thing I do want to mention about CarMax that I really wasn't aware of myself, if you find any little issues with the vehicle, there are things they will fix. A couple of things on the Mercedes, it had a little chip in the windshield. They filled that. It was no big deal. And it was missing the tire inflation kit. I wanted that since it doesn't come with a spare. I may add a spare to it. I probably will. But I wanted something so that I could get out of a pinch if I needed to. You know, I know a lot of people will say, well, you should have AAA or something. Yeah, but you still have to wait on the side of the road. I did not want to do that. So the direction of the channel is going towards more upscale cars, or at least cars anyway. My thought is to work my way up in the Mercedes line, maybe some other lines, I don't know yet, until I get to the pinnacle of whatever it is, within reason. I mean, I know Mercedes has like a gazillion dollar, super type car. I'm not really interested in anything like that, but I do want to move up the chain. Next will either be a coupe in a C300, simply because I like it. That's a 2-door. And then we'll go to the C43, which I have had in the past, but not a new one. And then most likely a C63, because I really like that one too, aka Autovlog. Thank you very much for that, by the way. It's really your fault. So that's the plan. We're going to kind of step up in vehicles. We're going to go towards cars. We're going to go with cars on this channel. Things you can do to them, of course, mods and things. There are, surprisingly, a lot of things you can do with a Mercedes-Benz to improve them both aesthetically and performance-wise. And we're definitely going to tackle those. There's a few things I've already done. So anyway, I just wanted to get on here, kind of let you guys know what happened to the Hyundai Santa Cruz. It's been traded. It's been traded for a C300 Mercedes-Benz sedan. Check out the channel. I hope you'll stick around. I do appreciate you guys being here. This is just part of my process, and I really hope you'll join it and stay with me as we go through it. You never know what might happen in the future. Anyway, leave a comment. Let me know what you think. And yeah, if you're leaving, I would be curious to know as to why. And if you're staying, thank you very much. I really appreciate it, and I hope you'll check out the future videos. I do have 2 additional channels. Rob Motive, all about Toyota Tacomas, and Rob Motive JT, all about the Jeep Gladiator. Check them out, and if you're interested in those, please consider subscribing. Thanks for watching. Lots of exciting things to come here. Stay safe. Bye.